Hello, what we're going to be covering in this video is Python's while statement. So you can make a block of code execute over and over again with a while statement. The code in a while clause will be executed as long as the while statement's condition is true. In code, a while statement always consists of the while keyword, the condition, which is an expression that evaluates to true or false, a colon, and then starting out on the next line an indented block of code called the while clause. So in the interactive shell, I'm just going to go ahead and type in a little while loop. What we want to do is print the numbers from 0 through 9 in consecutive order. So I will go ahead and print x, and I will increment x as x equals x plus 1. The other way you can go ahead and increment a number besides using x equals x plus 1 is you could just put x plus equals and then the value you want to increment x by. So what this is just shorthand notation for x plus x equals 1 in our case right here. So in order to run this loop in the interactive shell, I will just press enter twice, and what we get is we get x being displayed as it's walking through the loop. So if I go ahead and drop this into our Python tutor and walk through the execution of this loop, go ahead, visualize. So we'll click on forward. X is 0, it's less than 10. We'll print x as 0. We'll increment x by 1. We'll check our while loop again. And we will continue on as x continues, the value of x continues to increase. And x is now 9. 9 is less than 10. We'll print out 9. We'll increment x by 1. X is now 10. 10 is no longer less than 10. So then the program terminates. So the next thing I want to go through is what is called an infinite loop. So let me just go ahead and type in x equals 0. And then I'll type in while x is less than 10. And then we're going to go ahead and print out our string again. And then I'll hit enter again. As you notice, the difference between the code up above and this code is we don't have this counter in. So what's actually going to happen is x is always going to be equal to 0. And what we're in is we're in an infinite loop that will continue running until you run out of memory in your computer. So I will just go ahead and exit out of the interactive shell and kill the program from running. So the one thing when you're coding up your while loops, you want to make sure that you add something in the while loop so the while loop will eventually end. So what we're going to look at next is we're going to code up the following. So let me see if I can make this just a tad bit bigger. So what we're starting, we're going to assign y to keep going. Keep going is going to equal to y. And then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be calculating the sales commission for salespeople. So the user is going to enter the amount of sales, assign it to sales. We're going to prompt the user to enter the commission rate. They'll assign it to the commission rate. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and calculate our commission. We'll display the commission. And then we're going to prompt the user if they want to calculate another commission. If they enter y, then we're going to go back to the beginning of our while loop. Or n, we'll check to see if keep going is equal to y. If it's equal to y, we'll calculate a commission. Next time through, if they enter something other than y, we'll go back right before we get into our while loop. Keep going will not equal to y, and then our program will end. So what we're using here is we're using the Sentinel value to terminate the loop. So the loop will keep on running until the user enters something other than Y. So let's go into our file, new file, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set keep going. I'll just go ahead and use camel casing. Keep going equal to a Y, and then we'll do our while statement while keep going equals to Y. So again, what we're seeing here is that up above the assignment operator assigns the value of Y to the variable keep going, and then the equality operator checks to see if keep going is equal to a Y. So then we'll go ahead and set our sales equal to a float value, and then we'll prompt the user to enter that value. And let me space that. So what we're doing here is a previous video I talked about where when you're going to use numbers in input in a formula, those inputs are initially inputted as a string. So what you need to do is you need to convert those string values into a numeric value. So that's where we're using our float function to convert the amount entered by the user, the amount of sales, into a float value. So then we'll go ahead and calculate our commission rate, and we'll prompt the user to input that value. And then after that, we'll go ahead and calculate our commission. To our com rate. And then what we'll do is we will go ahead and print the commission is $, and then we'll convert our commission into a string value. And then the most important step here in order to end the loop is we need to prompt the user to enter a new value for keep going. So we're going to ask the user, do you want to calculate another commission? A Y for yes. Okay, so that is the code for the program. So I will go ahead and save the file. And we will go ahead and run it. Run our module. So I'll enter amount of sales, $10,000, enter a commission rate, 0.05%. They get 500. I want to enter another one. We'll enter 15. A commission rate of 10% calculates to 1,500. Go ahead and calculate one more. 30. And the commission rate is 20. It calculates the commission. I'll hit enter something other than yes and hit enter, and then our program ends. So basically what this does is as long as the user keeps on inputting a Y for the keep going variable, the user will be prompted to enter a sales and commission rate, and that commission will be calculated, and that commission amount will be printed by the user. So that's all I wanted to cover in this video about Python's while